Welcome, friends. I'm Chris. I'm with Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. Welcome to Stability Meets Mobility. And in tonight's practice, we're going to be working on the lumbar spine, the lower back. And in particular, we're going to try to really focus in on two of the primary soft tissue culprits that really contribute to low back pain, the iliopsoas and the quadratus lumborum. And I'll tell you more about both of those muscles as we move into the practice. Now, to be safe and enjoy your practice today, what I recommend are 2 yoga blocks and a blanket. So if you would, spread out your mat, grab your props, and we'll get started with Stability Meets Mobility here in just a moment. All right, friends, we're going to get started with our Stability Meets Mobility practice. We're going to start our movement sequence in a seated position. But for now, we have 3 or 4 minutes that I'm going to be doing the reading for today. So make your way into any comfortable grounding position. You can be on your seat, your belly, your back, or your side. And the reading for today is the beginning of chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita. And we hear from our protagonist, Arjuna, as well as Krishna. Chapter 8 is absolute freedom. Arjuna said, what is this absolute freedom, Krishna? What is the self? What is the true nature of action? The nature of beings and of gods. Teach me the way of worship, what it is here in the body, and how at the hour of death can a man be with you in spirit. The blessed Lord said, freedom is union with the deathless. The self is the essence of all things. Its creative power called action causes the whole world to be. All about beings, know that they die. About gods, know the supreme person. And know that true worship is I myself here in this body. Whoever in his final moments thinks of me only is sure to enter my state of being once his body is dead. Whatever the state of being that a man may focus upon at the end, when he leaves his body, to that state of being he will go. Therefore, Arjuna, meditate on me at all times and fight with your whole mind intent on me. You will come to me. Never doubt it. Strong in the practice of yoga with a mind that is rooted in me and in nothing else, you will reach the supreme person that I am. Meditate on the guide, the giver of all, the primordial poet, smaller than an atom, unthinkable, brilliant as the sun. If you do this at the hour of your death with an unmoving mind, drawing your breath up between your eyebrows, you will reach the person that I am. I will teach you about the state called the eternal, the absolute, which those who strive toward me enter desireless, freed from attachment. Closing the 9 gates of the body, keeping the attention in the heart, drawing the breath to the forehead with mind absorbed, one-pointed, uttering the sacred Om, which itself is freedom. Focused on me as you leave the body, you attain the ultimate goal. For men whose minds are forever focused on me, whose love has grown deep through meditation, I am easy to reach, Arjuna. If you haven't done so already, start to lengthen out your breath and make your way in, find a gentle transition into a seated position. And before we get into movement, let's start a little breath work to downregulate the central nervous system. So we're going to do a Brahmari breath. So find a good stable seated position again. Find length along the spinal column. So float the head over your shoulders, over your hips. Press down into your seat, grow out of the crown of your head. And then let the soft tissues fall down toward the earth. And for this breath, Brahmari is Sanskrit for black bees. So this is a humming breath. One of my teachers and mentors describes this as making the Om sound through a closed mouth. So I'll cue for a cleansing breath first. And then after that, 3 times I'll cue you for an inhale. Exhale through your nose, making a humming sound for as long as you can. The first mudra, or hand gesture, is to interlace your hands at the base of your skull with your elbows pointing forward. And we'll start with a cleansing breath, and we'll find 3 rounds of Brahmari. Inhale. Exhale, let that all go, make a ha sound. And for the next 3 breaths, I'll cue for an inhale. Exhale with a Brahmari breath for as long as you can. Inhale. 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 Release your hands from the base of your skull. Now take your pinky fingers, place them both the little crease in between your chin and your lower lip so that they join. And then ring fingers just below the nostrils. Take your index fingers just above the nostrils. Sorry, middle fingers. And then index fingers on the eyes. Use your thumbs to close down the flaps of your ears. And then 3 rounds of Brahmari breath at your own pace. You finished all 3 rounds. You can release your hands, maybe down into your lap. Start to shift into an Ujjayi breath. Maybe still feel the residual vibrations from your Brahmari breath. Just notice the effect on your central nervous system. Then your next inhale, sweep your left arm up over your head. Drop the fingers of your left hand just above your right ear. On an inhale, find length along your spinal column again. Exhale, fold your left ear down toward your left shoulder. Inhale, lift the crown of your head back up to center. Exhale, release your left hand down. Inhale, take your right hand up, drop it on the side of your head so your fingers just brush the top of your left ear. Then lengthen on your inhale. Exhale, fold your right ear towards your right shoulder. So we're gonna target the 2 primary soft tissue culprits associated with lower back pain, the psoas and the quadratus lamborum. And I'll tell you more about those muscles when we're doing those pretty specific movements. On an inhale, Bring the crown of your head back up to center. Then as you exhale, drop your right hand to the outside of your left thigh. Bring your left hand down by your left hip. Inhale to find length again. Exhale, rotate your heart to the right. Draw your hips back to the left. Lengthening out along the spine with each inhale. Each exhale is an opportunity only if it serves you to go deeper into the twist. So we use Vinyasa flow as a vehicle for much of the practice today, but we're going to work in some yin movements as well. Inhale. Exhale, release the twist, come back to center, then animal on the left side. Bring your left hand down to the mat in line with your left thigh. Place the webbing between your right thumb and right index finger into your right hip crease. Fold over that left thigh more first. And then on an inhale, relax your arms, open your heart up to the right, powerfully up to the right. Exhale, fold over your left thigh, pull with your left hand, press your right hand down and back into that hip crease. Inhale, relax your arms, open your heart. Exhale, fold, engage both arms, spread your kneecaps apart at the bottom of this movement. And continue to flow through this to the cadence and pace of your own breath. Come back to stillness first, and walk yourself up. Right away, left hand to the outside of your right thigh, right hand down by your right hip. Inhale to find length. Exhale, rotate your heart to the right. Draw your hips back to the left. Inhale. Exhale, release the twist, come back to center. Release your right hand down to the mat in line with your right thigh. Place the webbing between your left thumb and your left index finger into your left hip crease. On an inhale, relax your arms, open your heart powerfully to the left. Exhale, fold, engage both hands. As you drag the palm of your right hand back towards your right knee, feel that right armpit hollow out. And then just like the other side, flow through this gentle cycling movement to your own breath. Find stillness first. Lift yourself back up and then roll over crossed ankles. Make your way into a tabletop shape. I'm going to start with some cat rolling. Inhale, drop your belly down toward the earth. Maybe tuck your toes, lift your chin, shift your gaze forward. Exhale, puff the space between your shoulder blades skyward. Maybe shift your gaze to the space between your knees. Inhale, drop your belly, open your heart, root your index, knuckle, and thumb down into your mat. Exhale, press into your hands, round through your shoulders. Now 4 more times at your own pace to your own breath. Come into a neutral spine position and walk your hands forward. Lower yourself down onto your belly and then slide your hands forward. Find Sphinx pose. Put your shoulders over your elbows. Drag your elbows back toward your waist. Root down into your index knuckle and thumb again. Soften your belly. Maybe feel for a little bit of a decompression effect in the low back. And press the tops of your feet into the mat. Inhale. Exhale. Lower your heart down to the earth. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press up through tabletop. Find child's pose. Knees out wide. Big toes touch. Press the tops of your feet into the earth. Drop your seat down towards your heels. 5 breaths right here. On your next inhale, rock forward into a modified high plank. On your knees, but floating your shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, make the back of your head buoyant, lower down to your belly. Inhale, keep your hands under your shoulders, open your heart, easy cobra. Squeeze your elbows back and towards your waist. Press the tops of your feet into the earth again. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, lift forward, modified high plank. Exhale, lower down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, modified high plank. Exhale, make your way down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, child's pose. From your child's pose, draw in a deep, life-affirming breath. Hold it at the top. And then let it go, make a ha sound. Ha. Inhale, lift up into tabletop. Exhale right here. And then on an inhale, tuck your toes under your feet. Exhale, press up and back, downward facing dog. Make some small movements with your lower body. So we're going to do some classical sun salutation. We're just going to do 4. And then you will include both a side bending element and a low lunge. All right, find stillness in your lower body. Put a generous bend in your knees. Relax your neck. Now on an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk or step to the top edge of your mat. Find Ragdoll Uttanasana with your hands on blocks. Shift the weight into the balls of your feet. Rest your whole belly on your thighs and relax your neck. Right, heel toe your feet together. Shift the weight into your heels. Inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Place your hands on your thighs. Exhale right here. And then on your next inhale, press into your hands, press into your feet. Rise, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, slice your hands down at the heart center. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Lift your gaze, look at your hands. Interlace your middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Exhale right here. Inhale, press into your feet. Roll out of the tips of your fingers. Exhale, drop your hands off to the left. Press your hips over to the right. So we're going to do this at the top of every one of these classical suns. Maybe not with interlaced fingers. That's totally up to you. Inhale, lift back up into center. Exhale, drop your hands off to the right. Press your hips off in the opposite direction. Inhale, come back up into center. Lift your gaze. Look at your hands. Release your fingers. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step your left leg back. Tap the left knee down. Low lunge. Anjaneyasana. Engage your left glute. Release your hips forward toward that right heel. And if that right knee is coming forward to your right ankle, just walk it forward a bit. 5 breaths right here. So where I'm really most interested in sensation here, the inside of the left knee all the way up into the groin. We want to get into the iliopsoas, one of the 2 primary soft tissue culprits associated with low back pain. Inhale. Exhale, release your hands down to the earth. Step your right leg back to meet your left. High plank. Inhale in your high plank. Exhale, lower down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, step your left leg forward. Gently tap your right knee down. Low lunge. Turn that right glute on, just like the other side. Release the hips. So we have 3 more breaths right here. When we transition, it'll just be to a forward fold at the top edge of your mat. You could bring your hands down to the earth, or you could have your hands at heart center for that transition. But keep the core nice and engaged while you're making this transition. Inhale. Exhale, step your right leg forward to meet your left. Forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, drop your hands off to the left. Inhale, lift back up through center. Exhale, drop your hands off to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step your right leg back, low lunge, 1 breath. Rise on your inhale. Exhale, find a high plank. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, low plank. Come halfway down, knees up or down. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, step your right leg forward. Drop the left knee down, low lunge, rise on your inhale. Exhale, find a forward fold at the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale, lift up into center. Exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale, center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step your left leg back, low lunge. And then on your next exhale, find a high plank. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, low plank. Make the back of your head buoyant. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, step your left leg forward. Low lunge. And then forward fold at the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale, rise up to center. Exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale, rise. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, right leg back, low lunge. Rise on your inhale. Exhale, find high plank. Inhale in high plank. Exhale, low plank. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, step your right leg forward. Low lunge. And then forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, drop both hands off to the left. This will be our last standing side bend series. We'll continue to do side bends later in the practice, but from other positions. Inhale, come up into center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. And then from high plank, press directly into downward facing dog. On an inhale, lift your right heel up toward the stars. Exhale, step it forward. Tap the left knee down, low lunge again. Could be any arm variation. Could be any arm variation. This is just an invitation. Bring your forearms parallel to the earth. Palms face the sky for now. Spread between the index finger and thumb, or pinky finger and thumb, both hands. And then drop your fingers down toward the earth. Press the heels of your hands forward as if you were pressing into a glass wall at the front edge of your mat. Inhale, engage your left glute. Exhale, rotate the whole trunk of your body to the right. Oof. Inhale, come back into center. Exhale, rotate to the right. Inhale, come back into center. Exhale, rotate the whole trunk of your body to the right. Continue to breathe. We'll stay here 3 breaths. Continue engaging your left glute. Continue releasing your left hip point closer down towards your right ankle, your right heel rather. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, make a side bend to your right. And then on an inhale, maintain that side bend. Exhale, rotate the whole trunk of your body to the left and breathe. 3 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, come back to center. Release your arms. Bring your left hand down to the mat or to a block. Right hand on your right thigh. Modified simple twist. Inhale, find length along your spinal column. Exhale, press into your right hand. Open your heart up to the right. And then as you inhale, come slightly out of the twist. Let your heart come closer down towards center. Exhale, re-engage, press into your right hand. Rotate your heart to the right, your hips to the left. Keep moving through this gentle cycling flow to the cadence and pace of your own breath. Come back into stillness. Step back into high plank. And either press directly into downward facing dog or flow through a vinyasa. I'm just going to press into down dog tonight. On an inhale, lift your left heel up toward the stars. Exhale, reach it forward. Tap your right knee down, low lunge. Take a breath or two. Set up a good firm foundation for this lunge. And just like before, any arm variation is just an invitation. Forearms parallel to the earth, palms face the sky. Spread the digits apart with each hand, and then drop your fingers down toward the earth. Inhale, engage your right glute. Release the right hip point a little bit closer forward toward your left heel. And then exhale, rotate the whole trunk of your body to the left. Inhale, come back into center. Exhale, rotate to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotate to the left. Hold here for 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, release back to center. Inhale, make a side bend to your left. Exhale, rotate the trunk of your body to the right. Ooh, that is deep and juicy. This is a pretty deep psoas stretch. We're going to do one more technique tonight that's a little bit more aggressive, and I think short term a little more effective. But in terms of just a pure stretch, this is the deepest I found for the psoas. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, release your right hand down to the mat or to a block. Bring your left hand to your left thigh. Inhale to find length. Exhale, open your heart up to the left and stay right here or cycle just like on the other side to the cadence and at the pace of your own breath. Find some stillness. Release both hands down to the mat. And then from here, just side saddle your legs off to the side. Come onto your back and we'll set up the bridge. Place the soles of your feet on the earth. Put a generous bend in your knees. Check to ensure your feet and knees are hip distance apart. And your heels are sort of close to your seat, enough that if you reach down past your seat, you can brush them with your fingers. Starting with a pelvic tilt, and then we'll immediately add a bridge. On an inhale, draw your belly button towards your sternum. Visualize a tube of toothpaste under your low back. As your low back presses into the mat, you're generously squeezing paste out of the tube. And then exhale, press down into your feet. Lift your thighs. Lift your hips. Shift the weight into your heels. And with the weight in your heels, press your kneecaps forward toward the top edge of your mat. Breathe, breathing the whole time. Inhale. Exhale, one vertebrae at a time, lower all the way down. And we'll take one full and complete round of breath with your whole spinal column supported on the earth. Inhale, draw your belly button towards your sternum. Feel your low back press into the earth. Maintain this position of your pelvis. Exhale, lift up into bridge. Maybe walk your shoulder blades together under your back. Maybe even interlace your hands under your back. The weight's still in your heels. Your knees are still pressing forward. Now from here, press your chest toward your chin by 3/4 of an inch. Inhale. Exhale, lower down slowly, deliberately, with control. Release your arms. While we're breathing, reach your arms up over your head, interlace your thumbs. On an inhale, draw your belly button to your sternum. Exhale, press into your feet. Lift your thighs, lift your hips. You can press up into as full and complete extension as you like, or join me in three sets of hip drops, in which you'll put a little slack in your bridge so that the seat comes a little closer to the earth. 3 times, I'll count to 3. When I get to 3, vigorously press your hips up to full extension. For 1, 2, 3. Lift and stay right here, or put some slack in your bridge for 1, 2, 3. Lift. And once again, stay right here, or put some slack in your bridge for 1, 2, 3. Lift. Press into your heels. Lift your thighs and hips as high as you can. And then one vertebrae at a time, come all the way down. Bring the soles of your feet together. Like gravity, draw your knees down toward the earth. Reclining bound angle pose. Supta Baddha Konasana. Place your hands on the outside of your thighs. Draw your knees back up the center. And then roll off onto a side. Press yourself up. Bring your right shin parallel with the top edge of your mat, sitting down on your right heel. Put a big, generous bend in your left knee. And then take your right elbow, place it in front of your right knee. Your right forearm runs parallel to the right shin. And then cup the pinky edge blade of your right foot in your right hand. Now take the webbing between your left thumb, your left index finger, feed it into your left hip crease. Inhale, pull with your right hand, open your heart up to the right. Exhale, fold over that right thigh, press your left hand back down into that hip crease. Inhale, pull with the right hand, open the heart to the right. Exhale, fold and gently draw the hip back. Continue flowing through this gentle cycling movement to the cadence of your own breath. Come back to stillness. Start to lift yourself up. Bring your hands under your shoulders first. We're going to change sides. So thread your left knee forward towards your right heel, whoop, creating lots of slack. So you can thread that leg forward. Sit down onto your left hip. Bring your left shin parallel with the top edge of your mat. Put a generous bend in your right knee so your whole right shin's parallel with the right hand edge of your mat. And then bring your left elbow in front of your left knee. Cup the pinky edge blade of your left foot in your left hand. The webbing between your right thumb and right index finger feed into your right hip crease, just like the other side. Inhale, pull with your right hand, open your heart up powerfully up to the right. Exhale, fold over your left shin, press that right hand down and back. Continue flowing and growing to the pace and cadence of your own breath. Come back to stillness. Start to lift yourself up. Draw your right knee forward towards your left heel. And then make your way eventually up onto your knees. Grab your blanket. We're going to go into snake and rat or a yoga belly roll. So maybe starting with a half folded blanket. Fold it into a quarter. Fold it into an eighth. And if you already know the width of your belly roll, go ahead and fold it however you like. The more narrow the initial fold before you start to roll, the more sensation you'll get. I like more, so I'm going to go more narrow. And then once it's rolled with a little bit of imagination, we have this little can of peanuts. So for most rolls, if it's a wider roll, have the top and bottom of the can of peanuts open towards your hip points. Place the center of that blanket right under your belly button, and then find a forearm plank. Tuck your toes, you can be up on your forearms. See if you can soften and relax your belly. And then if you've got more space, your body wants more sensation, press the shoelace parts of your feet down into your mat. And then if you have even more space, you can just flatten yourself out like you're skydiving, letting the whole weight of your body press down into your mat. And softening the belly, allowing that blanket to press up into your abdominal cavity. So this is a fairly aggressive mechanical release for the psoas, which I mentioned earlier. So this deep hip flexor, foundational to human movement, it does so many things for us. It attaches the upper and lower parts of the skeletal system together. It allows us to lift a knee up toward our chin, to walk and to run. But because all of its attachment to all 5 vertebrae of the lumbar spine, when it gets chronically tight, which it does in many people from too much sitting, too much driving, living with too much fear, central nervous system geared into sympathetic nervous system response too often, it starts to pull all the vertebrae together in the front. It causes pretty terrible back pain. So this is a tool that you can apply with a blanket's a prop that all of us have at home. Sometimes doing this for 2 or 3 minutes in the morning and 2 or 3 minutes in the evening is the difference between having terrible, debilitating back pain all day long or being able to live and move powerfully throughout your day. And it's also a really good indicator. You know if you've got lower back pain and you do this belly roll and the back pain's relieved, at least part of the source of your back pain likely has something to do with the psoas. And I'm going to give you an option for a final resting shape that's a much more passive mechanical release of the psoas as well. We're going to start to shift into another of the 2 primary soft tissue culprits for low back pain. So find a forearm plank first. Lift yourself up, and then make your way onto your side, your right side, in sort of a side forearm plank. So your right shoulder is floating over your right elbow. Left leg's long over the right, and then step your left leg forward past the top edge of your mat. Start to fold down to really collapse down into that right shoulder. Maybe fold your right shoulder down towards your right ear. Now, one thing, really attend to how that right shoulder is feeling. My back has had, my dad has had low back pain since my childhood. And we just kind of figured out that it's this muscle, this quadratus lumborum, this deep abdominal postural muscle that gets over engaged on one side in a lot of people. It's a really common culprit, right? And so I showed him this fallen sphinx shape, and it made his lower back feel really good, but it made his shoulder feel terrible. So if that's you, another option, take 2 blocks, place one at the lowest height under your armpit, the other at the highest height, and then just do the same thing, collapse down into the armpit, but now there's no pressure on the shoulder. All right, so this is stretching out the QL, and then we're going to add a twisting element here in a moment. So to add that twisting element, take your left hand down to the mat in front of your abdomen in the left side of your mat. Apply enough pressure that you can slide that whole right forearm forward, come down onto your right shoulder, and then with your left hand, grab a handful of ribs on your left rib cage. Start folding your left shoulder back down to the earth behind you. All right, so notice that area on the lower back. It's twisting in opposite directions here. Twisting one way in one direction, twisting the other way in the other. That might not be any good at all, except that we're going to balance it on the other side. If that left shoulder comes all the way down to the mat or close, it might feel good to lengthen that left arm long. But I'll tell you, when I do that in my body, that's way, way too much sensation in that twist. It doesn't feel good. So I'm just going to keep my left hand on my left rib cage. So that QL again, when it really fires up, it's the pain is terrible. People can hardly walk. So what fires it up? Like when we sleep on the side, there's nothing. Sleeping on the side is fine, right? But ideally, we balance it out and we spend about equal time sleeping on each side. So if we sleep just on one side, the hip on that side pops up, and it can really overengage that QL muscle, right? Which, in addition to causing back pain, it's attached to the 12th rib, which has an association with the diaphragm. So it has a minor role in inhalation rather. So when that QL muscle is really fired up, sometimes it can even be hard to breathe. Bring your left hand back to your left rib cage. Lift your left shoulder up. Fold it over your right. Step your left leg back, and then roll over onto your left side. The side forearm plank again. Step your right leg forward. Start to collapse down into that left shoulder or stack blocks under your shoulder. So other causes, sometimes certain occupations, like I was a state police officer for 9 years, and on my duty belt, I carried all my tactical tools on the right side of my belt. I'm right-handed. So I wanted all my tactical tools to be available to my weapon hand. And they're much heavier than all the administrative tools, which are on the left-hand side of my duty belt. Right, so I had QL fits, like low back pain from QL problems almost the whole time I was commissioned. I'm convinced that's part of it. But also that was like personally a really difficult season of my life. And the quadratus lumborum in traditional Chinese medicine has an association with the secondary channel of large intestine meridian, which is metal element. And in TCM, metal element pertains to the quality of letting go and the emotion of grief. So I think either unresolved, unexpressed, unprocessed grief can also really contribute to pain in this part of the body. All right, now stay right here, or bring your right hand down to the mat between your torso and the right hand edge of your mat. Slide your left forearm forward. Bring your right hand to your right rib cage. Grab a handful of ribs. Start folding that right shoulder back behind you. So QL, I associate with grief, right? I sort of made a passing mention. The iliopsoas has a very similar association, secondary channels associated with kidney meridian, just water element. And the acquired emotion that I think is most well known for water element in TCM is fear. So if you think about that sympathetic nervous system fight or flight physical response to fear, often it's like a constriction in the belly. That's the psoas engaging. So people with who are living under a lot of chronic fear, like anxiety, which is a pretty non-specific future-oriented fear, that can contribute to a tight psoas. But there are a lot of people that think, and I'm beginning to be one of them, that if someone has a chronically tight psoas, they're also more predisposed to taking on irrational fears. So it's not that the fears have no validity, they're a real feeling. But I'm not talking about like the saber-toothed tigers about to eat me fears. Right? I'm thinking about the overthinking types of fears. So they're valid and legitimate, but they're really not rational. Bring your right hand back to your right rib cage. Lift your right shoulder up, float it over your left. Roll over onto your back. Peel your arms out to the side. Place the soles of your feet on the earth with a generous bend in your knees. Walk your hips off to the right. Drop your knees over to the left, supine twist. Now for more sensation, two tools. One will add a little bit of sensation. That's shifting your gaze out over the fingers of your right hand. And one will add a lot. And that would be straightening your right leg and letting gravity draw the big toe edge blade of that right foot down toward the earth. Put a bend back in your right leg. Lift your knees up to center. Walk your hips over to the left. Drop your knees off to the right. And use those two tools to create a level of sensation that's appropriate and responsive to your body's needs. Bend your left knee, draw your knees back up to center, and set up for any final resting shape. Now, one that I think really supports the work that we did tonight is just one option, is a constructive rest position. For that, place the soles of your feet on the mat with a generous bend in your knees, feet out, full mount width apart, and let the knees come into center to rest on one another. Now, in my prosthetic hip, that doesn't feel good in the rectus femoris. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'll place a block in between my knees. So you can take this or any other final resting shape. Release your Ujjayi breath and balance relaxation with alertness. Swallow 2 or 3 times. And start to draw some deeper breaths. Right? If movement would feel good, start to add an element of small movement into your body. That could involve your digits, your fingers, or your toes. It could be something else completely different. Yeah, and if more movement would feel good, start to go bigger at any time. Whatever that looks like in your body, maybe culminating in a full body stretch. And then make your way into either side into a fetal position. We're going to take 3 or 4 breaths here, and I'd like you to drop into your body. Notice 2 things for me. First, what's the quality of your nervous system now relative to before we started? And second, what's the quality, what's the state of your physical body now? In particular, your low back and hips. Just notice if you were able to open up and create some space for yourself in the work that you did. And then press yourself up into any seated position. You can do anything you like with your eyes, anything you like with your hands. Thank you, dear friend, for moving and breathing with me. It's an honor to practice with you. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be safe. And may you know peace. If you like, draw your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows. Blessings to you and your family. And that concludes our practice for this evening. Great job. That concludes our stability meets mobility practice for tonight. Thank you as always, friends, for joining us. I hope you have an amazing day today.